Everyone quiet. Sounds like we have a visitor approaching. Hello, fellow traveler. You look tired. We're on a long road trip and stopped here to set up camp. You're welcome to rest here for the night. There's always room around our fire. So have a seat. The food's hot, the drinks are cold, the fire is warm, and the stories, hopefully, are scary. I'm Jeremy, and I'm the driver on these road trips we take, but for the night, I'll be your storyteller. So settle in for some stories from the road. Tonight's story is called Bunnyman's Curse. So a while ago, I was making my way to West Virginia, in this little town off the side of the highway. The name is withheld due to the safety of the place, where they have a legend known as the Bunnyman. This tale is a fairly easy one to follow. Once a long time ago, in the 1800s to be exact, a mental institution was closed down. When the wardens were transferring the inmates to their new hellhole, a very daring man in the lineup managed to escape. He was missing for days. The thing that coincided with his escape was a small series of murders that happened in this little town I visited. The first victim was stabbed and skinned. The next few were cut up with axes, and the bodies disposed of in the local deli and packaged as steaks and sausage meat. The last kill before he was seen again was at a party shop. The last thing stolen and the last victim were the key to his madness. See, the owner was his ex-wife, who had put him away for being a Satanist. He was, as you'd imagine, less than stellar about his incarceration. So he took his new axe, and as the store was closing, pushed her in and knocked her out. When she woke up, he was standing there, axe in hand, grinning. However, the differences with this kill versus the others: he had stolen an Easter Bunny suit and wore it while he killed her. He started by skinning her in areas where it would hurt, but not kill. He then took and wrote on the walls in her blood, "You've seen what I can do. Do not come after me, or soon you too will face the wrath of the Bunnyman." With this, the Bunnyman lay dormant for the next 5 years. Every so often there would be a random missing persons case. The locals would make a joke about them being the next of the Bunnyman's victims. The one case that caused more of a successful investigation was that of a small girl named Penelope. She had been missing for months, and her parents were worried. Her mother was so determined to get her back, she forced her husband and 2 of his friends, both which are cops, to travel into the woods that surrounded their house, and most of the town, to search for her. Her mother was so determined to get her back, she forced her husband and 2 of his friends, both cops, to travel into the woods that surrounded their house and most of the town to search for her. They searched from daybreak to dawn the next day. When the light shone through the trees, they almost gave up. That was until they stumbled upon a small hole in the wall under the new street tunnel that connected to a railroad. Upon entering, they stumbled upon a dead rabbit carcass, rabbit bones and guts. The meat of these rabbits swung from makeshift meat hooks and rotted to the point of mold and a terrible smell. The woman threw up outside. This was the most disgusting thing she had ever seen. They went further into the cavern. As they reached what looked like a small bedroom, they saw more meat hooks, then bodies. Each had a toe tag. They assumed that these were cadavers from a medical school up the road. The thing that set these apart from the other cadavers they had seen in the past was, well, these were the missing people from the town. Another thing that set them apart was the fact that they were half-eaten. And that's when the mother screamed and woke the Bunnyman. She saw Penelope all right. She was mutilated and hanging from a meat hook. Her eyes were gone, and she was partially skinned in the areas that no one should be. She had no more teeth in her, and her tongue was removed, and one ear was missing. Penelope gargled a bit and then weakly called out, "Mother?" The mother proceeded to go to her daughter, but before she could even say, "I love you," the Bunnyman popped out and axed Penelope in the back of her head, killing her instantly. He saw them looking as he looked back, so one of the cops pulled a gun. "Freeze!" he shouted. The Bunnyman merely looked at him and laughed. "You think you can really stop me? You think I'm afraid? I have toe tags for you too. Now give up. You'll all be a well-earned meal." He tossed the toe tags to them with their names on it. They looked down at it and then back up. Unfortunately, Bunnyman had escaped out the back of the train tracks. The cops followed him and tried to shoot at him. They missed each shot, which led to the Bunnyman yelling an incantation. Then, after, there was a sound. The train was coming. Bunnyman looked at them and laughed. He screamed at them, "I may die, but I'll always be here." Then the train hit him. After a few minutes of the freight train passing by, the cops went over to where the body should have been. They only found a dead bunny in the bunny suit. Now, that was merely the legend of the Bunnyman. This is my personal experience at Bunnyman Bridge. See, the local teens have a dare. At midnight, go under the Bunnyman Bridge and say Bunnyman 3 times. You should then see a bright light, then a train sound, and lastly hear the infamous Bunnyman's laugh. I wanted the most extreme thing they had to offer on this interesting tale, so I learned of a dangerous combo. Do the Bunnyman dare, plus a mirror and a Ouija board. See, this way you can summon his energy, then spirit, and finally trap him in a mirror. I did this. Almost immediately nothing happened. I assumed that it was what it sounded like, bull. But then the mirror started cracking. Finally, it exploded and I heard a laugh. Being completely freaked out, I ran away just to hear my phone ring and get a text from at the same time. Only my ringer wasn't an 8-bit version of Freebird that I bought. It was that laugh. I read my text and it said, "I have your toe tags." Me being even more afraid than before, hopped in my car and sped off back to my hotel. I couldn't sleep that night. Every 5 minutes the phone would ring with that laugh. Sometimes, when I could get some sleep and went slightly into dream, I saw a man in a bunny suit smiling and holding an axe. The next day I got out of bed and went through town to ask any of the locals about what was happening to me. One of them told me to speak with the old woman down the road near Bunnyman Bridge. I found the woman by the name Candace that lived close by the bridge. She was around 60 and knew everything about the Bunnyman. She was the town's spiritual advisor. I was not the first to have this happen to them. Apparently in the 1960s, a woman was dared to do this and was driven to insanity. It was so bad she actually killed people the same way the Bunnyman did. She was arrested, but when she resisted, she was shot and killed. The woman seemed to like me enough to want to help. She said I reminded her of her grandson who had died a week prior to my visit. Fairly odd, but I wanted this to stop. I probably could have lived with it, but Bunnyman's laugh is annoying and ear-piercing. She started a seance and asked the Bunnyman what he wanted and why he was here for me. "I want to be remembered like little Amber," the woman from the 60s. Remember me. Kill, kill, kill." He repeated this over and over. Every time I was asked a question, he would say "kill" louder. Finally, I got mad. "Just go to hell, fat man," I yelled at him. He laughed and then went away. She said the only way to stop him was to confront him. She explained that I needed to reverse what I started, so I had to say Bunnyman 3 times in a mirror. I went back to my hotel and did so. It was midnight. I was in a dark room with a mirror and I said his name. At first, nothing. Then I heard whispering in my ear. "Kill for me. Kill for me. And bring my terror back, friend. Do it." That's where I was afraid. I had no idea what to do, and all I could think was go to hell. Go to hell. That's when it hit me. He was a talker. Now that he was dead, he couldn't do anything. He made Amber mad by talking to her. This is where I decided to talk back. I wouldn't be weak and feeble like Amber. I wouldn't let his words enter my brain and warp my perception of life. I turned to where I thought he was and yelled, "You can't control me, you dead turd. You're weak and useless. I bet you're a bitch in hell. Go away and never come back." He started to yell again, "Kill for me. Kill for me." I reiterated with, "Go away and never come back." Every time he would get loud, I would scream twice as loud. Finally, I screamed to the point of losing my voice. "Go to hell." Then it stopped. I turned the light on and saw to my horror in the mirror a rotted face and bunny ears, its eyes bleeding. Was this the Bunnyman? It had to be. We locked eyes. It screamed, making me jump a bit. Then his head bursted into flames, and the skin melted off to show a skull. It fell from his suspended animation to the floor. I heard the crash and looked at the floor. Nothing. Was it over? I guess so. But what was that about? I went to sleep peacefully that night. However, upon waking up, I learned that the old woman had died in her sleep. They suspected a heart attack, but when I saw her body, I wanted to go pay my respects. I noticed something. Her right toe already had a toe tag on it. Guess Bunnyman got another victim, poor woman. This is the burden of a thrill seeker. This is the burden a thrill seeker has to accept. The thrill can kill. Until next time, this is the thrill seeker saying, be wary of what you do. In memory of Roseanne Tagliola. I have your toe tags waiting for you. That was a weird story. And I picked the Bunnyman's Curse this week because I have something coming for my next episode. And I felt like that was pretty fitting for it. So it's going to sound a little bit weird. Like I've said before, you know, I have some young listeners and my parents listen and all that stuff. So I try to keep this clean. So there's going to be some errors through this where I'm trying to censor things. The bitch in hell part, I didn't really know what to say at that point. But there was a lot of F-bombs and stuff in this. And like I said, I do try to keep it clean. So, excuse me. Sorry, that snuck up on me. So, whenever you do listen to this, and well, now that you're done listening to it, I do apologize for the parts where I'm stumbling, but that's honestly me trying to think of something to say that's a little bit nicer than what the author had written. And there was no author listed, so I really can't credit who wrote it. But again, this was the Bunnyman, the Bunnyman's Curse, and let me know what you think. You can get a hold of me on social media, Full Moon Empty Road on TikTok, Full Moon Empty Road on, FMER Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, and Full Moon Empty RD on Twitter. You can drop me a line at fullmoonemptyroad@gmail.com. That's if you want to hear a story, or if you've got a topic you'd like to hear for the stuff that's more history and hauntings or dark words, dark things, you know, just hit me up there. Again, let me know what you think of the story tonight, and good night, everybody. Let's keep that fire burning low.